Go.
Hello, and welcome to another week of the Xbox North podcast. Episode 16, Sweet 16, if you can believe it. Actually, it's more like 16.5. Funny thing is, if you notice, Andrew's not here.
He's here with us in spirit. You can see him. He's saving water.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. He's down there right there. But yeah, we had a couple audio issues the other day, and we're doing 16 again. But you know what? We didn't want to miss this week for you guys, so we're here. This week we are reviewing the PlayStation Showcase. But before we kind of get into all that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. We can always answer them. You can also find us on Spotify if you don't want to see these faces right here. You can listen to us. We're on Spotify, Google Podcast. Just look up Xbox North Podcast. We're also on Reddit, Instagram, and just look up Xbox North Podcast for Twitter at North Xbox. So you can find us there. You can always shoot us a DM or ask a question on Twitter to us. Just tag us. Yeah, no, I definitely love interacting with anyone on there. So come talk games with us.
Yeah,
all right. So, Dan, I feel like we just talked,
Yeah, right? It's almost like we just had a whole discussion about all this.
So we won't get probably as in-depth as we, honestly, yesterday's conversation won't even be, it won't hold a candle to today's conversation. So, and when Andrew's not hosting. Exactly. When Andrew's not hosting, it's always a better show, right, Andrew? So love you.
Right? Yeah. See, look, he's okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. He's A-okay.
Okay.
But Dan, how's everything? How you doing? What you playing?
Doing good. I actually just beat A Dying Light, so I've cleared the first one.
Oh, really?
Now. Yeah, because I played it a long time ago, but I made the mistake of starting on hard. And I don't have the time to play games on hard anymore. It's very difficult for me. So, I just basically instead switched it over to normal, started the campaign over, and within the last week or so, I've cleared that campaign. And now I'm on to the DLC currently, so I'm in the prison DLC.
Isn't it called like The Following or something?
Well, there's The Following, and then there's a few other like mini campaign mission type deals or whatever. And I think the prison is probably one of the smaller ones because there's another one, I forget exactly what it's called, starts with a B, but I haven't joined it in it just yet because when I went to go start it, it recommended me having co-op, so like having more than one person in there because it'll probably be too hard for one person, which is terrifying. But
you know what? I think I'm so close to the end of that game. I can re-download it and see if I can give you a hand.
Oh yeah. Oh, you should definitely get in there because we could clear the prison and everything too.
Oh yeah.
I found by endgame. By endgame, I was just like, I was loving it. Like my guy was just going so quick, and there's an abundance of ammo at the end of the game, but like none throughout a lot of the rest of it.
It turns into almost like, because from what I remember of the game, it's super melee focused, so it turns into more of a shooter kind of near the end.
Yeah, and you gotta unlock all those abilities and everything too. Like I just by the end of the game unlocked a couple of decent abilities to do some jump and destroy some zombies type moves. So there's a ground pound, and then there's a like spear your enemy with your one-handed sword instead. But for the ground pound, you need a two-handed weapon too. And I died quite a few times trying to test that out with a one-handed weapon. You just jump and press B. Just hold that B button. Like just fall like a rock.
Well, Dan, I have some bad news for you. The sequel we've been all anticipating in December, it got pushed back to February 4th, if memory serves me right.
Yeah.
But you know what? Did you really want Halo to get in the way of Dying Light 2?
I don't think so. I think, I'm going to spend my time on Halo, and then when Dying Light does come out, I'll be ready and waiting for that to happen. So, Halo's going to take up a lot of our time over the next little while.
Oh, yeah. Getting back into multiplayer and playing co-op. Oh, wait. You know what? Right when Dying Light comes out, that's when Halo co-op will come. So Halo will affect that game either way, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it never a delay is never a bad thing if we're going to get a better product out of it. And I always thought the early December date was a bad choice. You know what? I thought the holiday release for that game was just a bad choice in general. I feel like people's minds are too focused on, you know, Forza Horizon coming, the next Battlefield, Call of Duty, Halo. Like, you really have an opportunity, just like the first one, mind you, to shine when you come out early in the year like that, in my opinion. So I think them delaying it to February, which February is starting to become a pretty packed month with Destiny released, Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation, and now Dying Light 2. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The traversal looks really cool in the new one. So.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that because like I think that was the one thing that bothered me a little bit about the first one was like it was very fun, but like yeah, it was like just a little bit more. Could use a little more polish on the like
just a bit of
acrobatics and
jank.
everything. Yeah, exactly. It was just like, especially once I got my grappling hook and I'd like grappling hook to the top of a tower and then like just miss the ledge and just plummet to my death.
Yeah, that game definitely has that Euro jank to it for it.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
But,
No,
anything
it's good
else?
though. And yeah, been playing a little bit of the Artful Escape because you had recommended it there, and it's awesome. It's a yeah, it's a very like casual game and like really pulls you in and has its own feel to it.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely a really cool game.
Oh yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, what did you get up to this week?
Well, as I was saying the other day, but we went to the zoo this week and had a really good time there. Kids had fun. Man, COVID really. There's like some areas that were just like blocked off, and like we're like the only ones around it, and we're like, why can't we just go to the glass to see the otters when we could go to the glass to see the polar bear? You know, and that was even like in an enclosed box of a room where this is like an open hallway.
Yeah.
So there was just like weird stuff like that, and just like stand, and there's like literally no one around there, and I'm just like, why can't I just like buy a coffee there? Like, so just like like weird stuff like that, and like no real activities going. But he had a great time, like running around, and
oh, absolutely.
You know, there was
Kids
this
are so
one.
happy to get out and actually like visit stuff now. I know my youngest like just started school and everything, and yeah, just able to get to school now. It's just now, like 2 weeks in, basically. She's finally getting to the stage of like I miss mommy and daddy. Want to be at home.
Yeah. Oh, and it'll be weird, like when like Oliver's in school, and there will be that 1 year where Elise is not in school. So,
yep.
But no, they had a good time. Oliver, man, they have this one slide there that's in this tree, and it goes like a full loop around down, and it's like pitch black in there, like no light whatsoever, like terrifying, like a black abyss.
Yeah.
And like I'm looking down it, I'm like, I'd never go down that. Like, oh my god. And Oliver was just killing the slide. I was just like, oh, nice. Man, braver than your dad right there.
Right?
It was fun. Also been playing Psychonauts 2 still. Haven't finished that. And then I started playing The Artful Escape as like a little in-between almost. And man, that game is amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was way more intriguing than I thought it was going to be at first.
Oh yeah, like I thought every time I saw a trailer for it, I thought it looked really good. And I was always curious, like, what could this just game be? I keep on seeing him fly down a hill and like strum a guitar. Like, what is the full game gonna actually be like? But it was great, and it's not trying to be like other games. It's literally its own kind of unique idea. It's more of an experience, I find, than a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't try to be a precision platformer or precision rhythm game. It really just wants to tell a story and give you this over-the-top experience of just like traveling the cosmos and playing your music and discovering who you are as a person.
It's just such like a beautiful piece of art too, in that way.
Yeah.
Just like it's such a nice mix of the music and the art style of the game and everything, and you interacting with it. It just all kind of blends together to really make like a cohesive piece.
Oh
It's
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like when you like hit the guitar and like the whole background like explodes to life,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's quite amazing. And it's funny, the second night I was playing it, because the intro is pretty long actually when you're in town, surprisingly. So things don't get pretty trippy until about like 45 minutes into the game.
Yep.
And the second night I was playing it, it was really like deep into this ride he's going on. And my daughter woke up and I brought her upstairs and she's just sitting next to me, and like every once in a while she'd just be like, "Ooh," and like super loud. I was like, "Oh, you're gonna wake your brother. Come on, we're sneaking you up here, you know, we're having like our own little thing right now." Um, and she just loved it, and I had a moment of playing the game but just watching her just like totally light up seeing it. And it was awesome. What a cool game. And now I'm back into Psychonauts, but
Yeah.
they just announced a bunch of new Game Pass games, and there's so much good stuff coming.
Oh, so much.
Like
We're gonna be totally
how can
spoiled.
you
I
keep,
don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
they just put a new gun in Destiny, and I want to play more of Season of the Lost, and I just like I can't get to it because I want to play this other game. And It's just,
Right.
it's just, it's just brutal. So if anyone's listening, plays Destiny, shoot me a message and get me on that game. I want to play.
Oh yeah.
But besides that, things are good. Things are good.
Nice.
But you know what was actually really good? The PlayStation Showcase. Surprisingly, and talk about like starting off with a bang. Sony did start off big with the reveal of a darling Xbox original game being remastered, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And I gotta say something, like I knew this game was coming, but to see it on Sony's stage was honestly surprising. And to be the first thing was pretty interesting. So I was not expecting that. But thank God, it is a timed exclusive, but you know how Sony is with their timed exclusives. They're either a year or now we're seeing, some games like we'll talk about getting the 2-year treatment. I think even Final Fantasy Remake got the 2-year treatment. I keep on hearing rumblings of a big game coming out in fall for Xbox, and it might be Final Fantasy considering Tokyo Game Show, but yeah, these 2-year exclusives. So we're not going to see this on Xbox for a while, but you know what? It's on PC, so
Yeah.
everyone will get to enjoy it. You got a beast of a machine there. I'm sure you'll have
Oh
fun
yeah.
with that game as well.
I'm definitely gonna
Um,
try that out. I loved that
but
game from before. Like when it first released and everything, played the crap out of that game. It was just such an awesome storyline and like just awesome twist at the end and everything. Oh, just
oh yeah,
I
the
can't wait for
twist.
it. And I mean, at the same time, as long as it's going to be taken over by PlayStation for at least a year, maybe 2 years or so, I guess there are some benefits to that as well. Because I mean,
Hmm.
PlayStation promotes some healthy competition for Microsoft. Like I've said before, is just you don't want any one of those companies to have a monopoly on the gaming like industry. So you're
Yeah,
always going
no,
to have lots and lots of
competition's key.
yeah, exactly. Lots and lots of companies out there, and the more the better, and better for us anyways. And I mean, hopefully the game will just come out more polished by the time we get to it. It's just going to be nicely tuned up and way more efficient, and we won't have as many bugs to worry about.
Oh yes. Yeah, and the developer, was it Aspire? Who's making it? Asper Aspire Studios.
It's Aspire,
Uh,
yeah.
Aspire. Um,
Yeah.
so they did like the remasters for the tablet and for tablets and phones and mobile. So
Yeah,
they've been more working on the remaster front, but it seems like they've been, embedded in this kind of, like you're doing a remaster, even though it's coming out for mobile, you're still like, you live and breathe that whole world for a while. And if this is a way for them to kind of prove themselves, because when they say remake, we're talking about a whole new game.
yeah. It's
Um,
changed and everything now.
yeah, like it's going to have new combats. It will have new dialogue, um,
Yeah,
more voice acting. Did the first one have voice
much
acting?
better graphics. But
Oh yeah, that's a
the first
given, right?
one, um, it had like a lot of options. I mean, it didn't. I don't think your can't remember now. I don't think your like character customization was too broad. It's not
Yeah.
like Skyrim
No,
style, but I
no.
think you had a bit of choice, and at the very least, as you're changing your costume and everything, and going through and getting better pieces of armor and everything, you just kind of change your look that way, right?
Yeah, so I hope they make the character customization, and they said well, I hope they broaden the character customization, but they said they are going to be keeping that famous twist. So if anyone who's listening, if you don't know the twist in Knights of the Old Republic, we're not going to spoil it, but don't
Yeah,
look it up.
yeah.
Like
Play the game.
honestly, play the
It's so
game. Like
good.
it's such a good. It's probably one of the best twists in like in media
Yeah.
in general. it
Oh
was
yeah.
it was pretty. It was pretty. It was
And
pretty
Star Wars,
shocking, but I guess you there's a twist coming, so you're like, oh, what's the twist? And for us, it was like, yo, dude, did that just really happen in the game? Like
yeah.
that just happened. So
Like
there wasn't really.
I was so glad for that too because like Vader what Vader's reveal was to the movies, like this was to like our whole like universe
Yeah.
and everything too, and like not getting to experience that because like I remember watching the original Star Wars way back when I was really little, so like I didn't really care that much, but I remember getting like a little older and just kind of finding out more about it and understanding that and not really getting to experience that whole like oh my god what a twist
Oh
like
yeah. Like
like nobody knew but like Mark Hamill.
yeah, you're watching New Hope with your dad, and you're like, oh, this is cool, and he's like, yeah, that guy's his father, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, thanks.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, but um, yeah, the twist is really good. So I hear that they're going to keep that and update the combat, and it's going to have new graphics. And it was still a CGI trailer, and I think
Yeah.
this is kind of a theme that we have going on. It's funny how they get like online. Everyone, when they see a CGI trailer on the Xbox stage, are like, "Yeah, it's just CGI." But when we see it on PlayStation, it's just like banger after banger, baby.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh,
They all
whatever.
look so good, but none of it's
You,
actual gameplay. Like, what do you?
yeah, it's like even if it's a CGI trailer, hey, if it gets me excited, like which
Yep,
this does, then it's doing its job. The money well spent. I'm excited.
exactly.
Um, so yeah, Knights of the Old Republic starting off strong. So
Yeah, it's gonna
yeah,
be good.
yeah. So that happened for sure. But going on to and we're not going to cover every game that happened in the show. There's so much, but we're going to just cover kind of things that caught our eye. So the next game we're going to go over, it's a very Bayonetta-esque kind of game, like an
Yeah.
action game like Devil May Cry, but it's called Project Eve. Also, it is coming to Xbox as well, so um, we are going to be able to play that on launch, and they showed off the first PlayStation 5 trailer. It looks to be action-packed, very high speed action game, like I
Yeah.
said, like Bayonetta, like even Nier Automata, but not with like, let's say, like the shooting segments like they have in Nier.
Yep.
But I don't know. I thought this looked good. Now that I
Yeah.
know that it's a Xbox game coming, we're going to be able to enjoy this. The nice thing about these conferences is a majority of the games that we do see are coming out for Xbox as well. But I thought this looked cool. The action looked quick. The art style looked really cool. The creatures looked absolutely crazy and has this like sci-fi feel to it, and she has this really interesting costume with this like cape almost that's very see-through, but the material that it looks like it's made out of looks really cool.
It makes like for awesome action sequences and everything when she's flipping through the air, and like you get the flow of all the costume and everything. And yeah, it's just like a very flowy experience, it looked like. Yeah, definitely Bayonetta style. If I didn't know any better, it would be like a Bayonetta sequel, I think.
Yeah, almost, right? And it's coming from a Korean studio, and seems like there's a lot of great stuff coming out of South Korea these days. Not North Korea, that's for sure, but definitely a lot of good stuff coming out of South Korea these days. And like we're getting that Doke V game. They're doing also Crimson Desert, but now this game. Not saying it's made by the Doke V people, but just a lot of interesting projects coming out of that region.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm down for an action game. I love the Bayonetta series. I love the Devil May Cry series especially. So yeah, Project Eve coming to Xbox and PlayStation should be interesting.
Looking good.
Should be an interesting title. But the next one we're going to talk about, this is something that speaks more to you, and I'll let you get into this, but we got Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So we got the first gameplay reveal for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. And as a big fan of Borderlands franchise, this looks quite good, in my opinion, personally, as well. Yes, it does look like more of the same kind of like first-person Borderlands that we're all used to. But with a very kind of D&D interesting twist to it. It's set in its own like virtual world.
More mystical and still lots of guns though. Lots and lots of guns.
But they can go even more off the wall than they usually do with the Borderlands series, which sounds pretty intriguing in my opinion.
Absolutely. And it's awesome for me. Like it just tickles my fancy on so many different levels. Because like my favorite podcast to listen to myself before we started this or anything was the Dungeons and Daddies podcast.
Wait a minute. You're saying we're your favorite podcast? Oh, damn.
Oh,
thank you.
Right? Yeah.
But the Dungeons and Daddies podcast?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of the growing and bigger podcasts out there. And it's not actually about like BDSM or anything. So it's actually about D&D. And it's about like a group of dads that got tossed into like the D&D universe. And they basically are going through to find their lost sons. And as they're going through, the narrator for the whole thing, or the DM, the Dungeon Master, is actually Anthony Birch. And he's the same guy who wrote for the Borderlands 2 game. And in that, they introduced Tiny Tina and everything. And Tiny Tina is actually his sister. Yeah, Ashley Birch. Yeah, so it's so good that they just combined, like, and Ashley Birch is actually a guest on Dungeons and Daddies as well for several episodes and everything, and so it's cool to see them, like, kind of bring their universes together and, like, carry each other over and everything. And now that I'm not sure if Anthony Birch had too much of a hand in writing Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I got to look that up for sure.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he works for Gearbox, but I think Ashley still does the voice of Tiny Tina.
Tiny Tina. Yeah.
But I remember her in her. Do you remember GameTrailers.com back in the day? So she had a show that was on Game Trailers called, it was like something Ash. It was like a Pokemon like parody.
Yeah.
And that kind of like set her career off. I remember that. I thought that was like, I remember that first show because I was obsessed with Game Trailers. I was on that website like every day. It was essentially YouTube for gaming before YouTube. And I remember when the series like first posted on there, I'm like, this is the weirdest like homemade movie thing on this website. I don't know why they're posting it. It was almost like, like a fan just like uploaded video, right?
Yeah.
But it was funny, and they continued it for a while. You can probably look it up on YouTube now. But yeah, no, they're great. That's how I know Ashley Birch. More, and it's funny because people probably know her for so many different things now. But that's that when I was a kid, like when I was like a, a teenager, probably at that point. So
It
long ago,
takes you back, right? Yeah,
right? Like,
that was the weird thing, just finding out like through listening to Dungeons and Daddies too, that Anthony Birch was who he was, and like finding out that association and everything while I was listening to that was just awesome because I loved Borderlands 2. I love Borderlands 1 and like love Borderlands 3 even. But I couldn't I couldn't believe that them because a lot of their voices are familiar. They're actually all in a lot of bigger projects too, but that's for
it,
their
it,
podcast to discuss.
it looks fun. That's for sure. I'm surprised they don't even, for just marketing reasons, I'm surprised the name Borderlands is not even attached to it. People will look at this game and be like, not like I could imagine a person, in store,
Yeah.
like picking up the box like we used to. Now that doesn't even fucking happen anymore, right?
Right?
People,
I'm sure they're going to have some sort of banner or something over it
yeah,
or
like
whatever, like from the makers of Borderlands.
Borderlands are like the exact same game as Borderlands, but a
Yeah.
different setting. Like
With dice now and
yeah,
metal. Yeah.
but I'm just curious how they're going to get that across, to be honest. But it looks fun. Like I'm down for a Borderlands game. I never played the third one. I'll probably actually, you know what? I probably will never play the third one. I keep on saying I would like to go back, but if they keep on launching games at this rate on Game Pass, I'm just moving forward and never
They're
looking
gonna have
back.
time.
Like,
Exactly.
yeah, like right. So,
It's just it. Oh, they're fun though. Like, hey man, this one is this one timed release too? I don't think it is.
I think it is on the Epic. I wonder if I wonder if they paid over $100 million again for this game.
Right?
God, what a waste of money! I heard they didn't even make their money back from that. Like,
I mean,
how
it's gonna be
would you?
tough. Yeah,
Like,
it's not
how
gonna be
would you?
easy to make that money back. Yeah, no,
Outrageous. Well, talk
I'm
about
happy to see it.
spending a lot of money. Let's talk about a 2 year, not a 1 year exclusive, a 2 year exclusive. And you know what? Who even knows after the 2 years if it will even be coming out at that point? But we're talking about Forspoken from Square Enix. This is probably the game that got me the most excited. With amazing graphics, to be honest, the graphics were quite gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous open world. Truly feels next gen in my opinion. Visually for
Yeah.
sure. This is another timed exclusive, 2 years as I was saying. But it will also, you can say there is a silver lining to a lot of these timed exclusive is PC players, master race. You guys are always eating well. So you're going to be getting Forspoken,
Yeah.
showing off the power of your
Play those
SSD
early.
in
Oh
PC,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I want to try out Windows 11 on my gaming rig once that's a little more stable, I think.
Well, I heard this game's going to be using like Fidelity FX, so it's going to be using their super resolution technology. So
Yeah.
it's
And yeah,
definitely
it's,
using next gen tech to
yeah.
render its world, which is awesome.
It's not just better graphics, it's better physics and everything too. Like just
Yeah.
the animations they were creating and how nice and realistic like they looked and felt was just awesome.
And it seems like even from the picture, if so anyone who watches the podcast, we have a picture up and she's standing on top of this mountain and she's like so high up that she's like just above the
The clouds.
clouds.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's going to be this really nice variety and verticality to the game world where the game is almost like showing off and say, hey, look at our pretty ass game world and look how far you can see. And yeah, you can go anywhere. And there's this really nice flow to the traversal in the game, how she slides down the hill, how she does backflips in the air, how she grabs onto
And it's all magic based. Like she's just using these like magic powers and she can levitate herself and they did the animation so cool and everything too. Like it looks like Doctor Strange-esque, like doing some hand motions and like throwing ice out of her hand. Her body starts
Yeah,
to glow
right?
and everything too. It's really cool.
Yeah, she put like a bubble of water up into the air, and like was fighting like these birds flying in the sky. And it seems like there's like a lot of big names attached to it. So Gary Whitta, the writer of Star Wars Rogue One, which in my opinion is been the only good new Star Wars movie to come out. And Amy Hennig is also kind of finalizing the script for it. So there's a lot of interesting names attached to it. Amy Hennig is also the writer for the Uncharted series. But honestly, the only thing that really put me off, though, which is funny, like talking about the writers, is as soon as she started talking, I was like, this kind of sounds a little like tropey. Like it was like just like I did that mind. Oh my god! Like okay, you know what? But mind you, that was just one line. We'll see further down the road how it will.
And it sounded kind of like Paul Bettany in
the
the
bracelet.
game. Yeah, like the bracelet, I think, sounded like Vision.
So yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. I got to look that up still. And, check out if that is the actual actor, but it sounds like him anyways. So, and yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Prototype.
Yeah,
I remember thinking like just all the like black goo and everything, and like she's shooting ice out. It like and it looks like a similar sort of texture. I feel like, but definitely way better physics, way better graphics and everything. I mean, Prototype came out so long ago. It was on like I think the original Xbox
360
or 360. Yeah.
Yeah, 360, early 360 game. But man, that generation was so long.
Oh
it was like what 8 years old. It was crazy. But no, I really want to. I do really want to try that game out for sure.
Yeah.
Forspoken, 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
It's okay. I'll stream it from my my computer or something for you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another timed exclusive, and this time exclusive we know is coming in probably most likely 1 year, and it's going to be on Game Pass as soon as that thing is done, because it is now being funded by Microsoft, as it is a Microsoft-owned studio, Tango Gameworks. So after a long time without hearing anything, Ghostwire Tokyo has finally re-emerged with new gameplay reveals showing off new main character and how the game will play and overall look of the game. This is another game owned by Microsoft coming to PlayStation first. We know it's a timed exclusive and 100% coming to Game Pass and the Xbox once the exclusivity deal is done. But how excited are you for this, Dan, for this Tokyo, knowing the history of the studio that we're talking about, one of the creators of Resident Evil 4, I'm pretty sure, and he left and made what's their other game? It's very much like Silent Hill or Resident Evil.
Yeah, I was thinking Silent Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why the game is not coming to my mind. I'll look it up.
I think it looks amazing. I think I love the art style and everything. I've always liked that samurai style of art and everything. Like I kind of liked it in Cyberpunk, but I felt as much as they did lean into it, they didn't flesh it out as much as I would have liked. And I feel like Ghostwire did like a pretty nice job, at least in their cinematic here. I'm not sure how the gameplay will be exactly like we've mentioned, but and yeah, I believe we've actually got the like video in the background here.
There you go.
And I think that's part of it here. Yeah, it's just stuff disappearing. Your face starts to melt off, and he starts getting these crazy powers.
Yeah, and the enemy design looks pretty cool. Like it's like these ghoul-looking guys in like suits. Almost reminds me of like a Slender Man.
Yeah,
very Japanese ghost look to
yeah,
them, and
exactly.
they
And
have this main. Sorry,
as
as
much
much
as
as
Forspoken has like a really nice third person view of like crazy magic and everything, I think this will do an even better job at like first person view.
yeah, and it
It's like
seems like they have this cool enemy. This guy, the guy who's wearing the white mask with the devil horns to them. But the
yeah,
gameplay looks cool. There's this cool whip mechanic, and the traversal looks pretty interesting. So I hope the game is great. And you know what, Microsoft, even though this is coming to PlayStation for timed exclusive, put all the money into this, all the work and time into making this game just sell Xboxes. Put this game on PlayStation, be like, enjoy your last Tango Gameworks game. It was one of their best works. You can't even imagine what they're going to be making next.
yeah.
So I'm excited for it. It looks really cool. The guy has a good reputation. The game I was thinking was called Evil Within, mind you. The Evil
Yeah.
Within 2. Um, so I really, and you know what? I haven't played the Evil Within, and I think I should go back and at least try the second one for sure.
Yeah.
Just give it a shot and see how it was. I didn't have the game, and now that it is on Game Pass, like why not? But
Yeah.
like we always say, we have so much stuff. It's hard to even like turn around and go back.
Yeah.
But Ghostwire Tokyo, it looks promising, has a cool art style, enemies look interesting, traversal looks cool, gameplay looks fun. It has like these hand movement things, like almost like magic coming out of your hands.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I kind of liked was like, yeah, you get a close up of the hand motions and everything and the cool art style. It'll be interesting for sure. I liked the look of the gameplay and just how it felt. There's going to be
Yeah.
a lot more of that, I think. Just with this next generation here, everything is just such a big leap in graphic technology and physics engines and everything and what they're capable of, and we're just starting.
Oh, and
It's
just
going to be insane to
fidelity,
see where it goes. Yeah.
right? Like everything just seems to run just more stable,
Hmm.
um, which is nice to see. So, considering the reception we're getting from Deathloop, uh, these two, and if you look at the advertisement for Deathloop, man, they really do not show the name Bethesda on there for sure. So they really kind of shy away from that. So I feel like both companies kind of just want to get these two games out and over with.
Yep.
So Deathloop is out now, getting perfect 10s in some areas. So
It looks awesome.
we definitely have. It's just great. You watch this this trailer and you're like, well, I know it's going to be part of my at least 2023, early 2023 lineup, and we have a lot to play next year with Starfield and all
Oh,
that.
I'm so
So,
excited for that. Yeah, we've got
oh
such a
yeah,
good lineup coming out and what's
oh
going to
yeah,
be rolling up next. I
and the
can't wait to
consistent
see it.
updates for Halo all next year. So they probably have quite a roadmap for that.
Yeah.
But talk
Sony
about
had
roadmaps.
Hmm?
Let's talk about the open road. Let's talk about Gran Turismo 7.
Oh yeah.
And so Gran Turismo is shown off in more of a complete form, and now we know it will be releasing March 4th, so early next year, March 4th, 2022. Now that we've seen the gameplay, what the gameplay will look like and overall the fidelity, what do we think about this game compared to, let's say, Forza Horizon 5 coming out?
We never
Uh,
talk about. We would never
Yeah,
talk
which
about that.
we absolutely never talk about. But with Forza Motorsport, most likely, in my opinion, releasing next holiday as well. Which I found out a couple of other things today, which we can get a little deeper on about this particular game, which we didn't talk about yesterday, which is funny. But yeah, what did you feel about Gran Turismo from what you
I
saw of
mean,
it?
Gran
7.
Turismo, I've never been the biggest racing game guy ever. Like my uncle got me into some of it early on because he was always a big race car guy. He loves NASCAR, all that stuff. and he had the whole steering wheel and pedals set up and everything hooked up to his computer, and of course arcades and everything.
Mhm.
But I've never been the biggest Gran Turismo fan. I think it's a little more catered to, yeah, like the car guys specifically, and
Oh
like
yeah.
kind of like motorsport is. Like
Yes.
it like those two are just made to compete with each other. And like they say right here, it's like it's the real driving simulator. So it's just all about like how technical and exact you can get to all of the car components and everything that
I love how they say
the
the
car guys
real
want to get
driver.
into. Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like you're the only one, right?
Yeah.
Um, so interesting news that came out about this game today, which I feel kind of plays into kind of Sony's lack of communication with their games on how they present them.
Yeah.
So when the PlayStation 5 was first shown and they were showing off Spider-Man Miles Morales, they really alluded to that game being not a cross-gen game, just on PlayStation 5. And then months down the road after they announced it, they said, oh no, it's coming to PlayStation 4 as well, which we all suspected. But it's just like,
Yeah.
why can't you just say it from the start? And the advertisements for this game keep on showing ray tracing happening. And the pony soldiers are out there saying, oh, ray tracing is only in photo mode and in the garage for Forza Horizon. Doesn't have true ray tracing, but it has actually ray tracing sound, which is pretty interesting. But now
That'll
we
be
find
interesting.
out that Gran Turismo does not have in-game ray tracing. And mind you, Gran Turismo is not an open world game. It's a on-track.
Yeah.
So it's not going to have ray tracing on PlayStation 5. It will have ray tracing in photo mode and in replays if you'd like, and also in the garage. So this comes down to like another thing of like, dude, like when I first saw the game and how they were presenting it, they made the game seem like it's gonna have ray tracing in the game. Like they even showed gameplay of it having ray tracing, but I guess that was just the replay of
Yeah.
the match they just played. So it's this, it's just
It's a
this
weird
weird
setup.
communication,
Yeah.
right? So the game, it looks pretty, but if Forza Motorsport comes out next year and it is a reboot of that series and it is next gen only and it is more of a platform and has uh, like real ray tracing while playing the game, because the game is not a cross-gen game, the next Forza Motorsport, from what I
Yeah.
know. That could change. They could say, hey, no, it is a cross-gen game. We'll see. But from what we know right now, it is not cross-gen. And I feel like Microsoft has a good opportunity when this game comes out just to do a full like unveil of motorsport and just just be like, yeah, you call yourself the real racing things. Like, well, we'll add that at the bottom of our game as well, but not to
Right?
uh, like say my car is faster and better than your car, but I just find their messaging for this, especially just after hearing this today, just so weird. Um, it's going to be a fun game. They do a good job either way, but I don't know. Gran Turismo has never been my thing. And even Forza Motorsport, to be honest, not my thing at all. I
Yeah.
probably won't even play the new Forza Motorsport. But Horizon, I'm all over that. I'll play
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I
Yeah.
like the arcadey feel of Horizon and everything. I think xCloud is going to start to change the way that these cross-gen games are really put out and how much cross-gen is really needed, because before there was a whole lot more need for the support of cross-gen for people who can't upgrade just yet. Like I know I was one of them for the longest time,
Oh, yeah.
forever. And like just I didn't get, and like this Xbox Series X is the first one that I've gotten like as close to the release date as possible
Hmm.
in any of the generations or anything.
Yeah.
Like I've always gotten them like a year or two out. just because they just didn't have the money to upgrade at the time.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
like, so there's something to be said for that, but if you can run xCloud on the older gen console, then you can have just a next gen version of the game running on both.
it's funny. I feel like this round of consoles, it feels like the first time a console came out where I'm like an adult, where the Xbox One came out, I was like, in my early 20s and stuff like that. And money was like tighter and stuff, but now that things are more stable and you're an adult, you can treat yourself once in a while. Why not? You deserve it, Dan.
Nice gear, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Play some video games, destroy a chandelier or two. Not a problem. Yeah.
Give it a punch or two. I mean, what's VR for if not taking you directly out of your surroundings and making you destroy parts of your house? At least it wasn't a monitor.
There you go. But Gran Turismo will be a fun game. But man, guys at Sony, get your messaging down, please.
Just explain all that up front, because I mean, I'm sure Xbox has done it before and everything too, but I mean, you got to be as upfront as possible. I think that's the way everything's going. You got to kind of explicitly tell everyone. You can't just kind of sneak that stuff under the rug so much anymore.
Well, and if you're explicitly, you're seeing everyone say the game has ray tracing in game. You can see everyone online saying it.
Yeah, so. And it just leads to disappointment, right? I mean, if you guys aren't actually including that, then people are just going to be disappointed when it does come out. It just goes back to all these other games that people are getting called out for. The marketing departments get way too out of hand with that stuff.
Oh, yeah. But you know what, Dan? You know who doesn't disappoint? Very rarely ever disappoints. And that's Insomniac Games, man.
Yeah.
So Insomniac, they finally showed off what they are working on, and they are not just working on one title, but two. They are both Marvel as well. So they are becoming this little Marvel powerhouse of a studio. So we already suspected that one of them was going to be Spider-Man 2, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that coming. But surprisingly, what they did confirm, shockingly, was a Wolverine game, actually. And I was not expecting them to announce a Wolverine game.
Neither was I. I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah.
Already. All we've seen is the cinematic, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, I could get my hands on some of that. I can just picture it in my head what I'm thinking of, and I'm hoping it'll be something close to that.
Considering it is Insomniac Games, if there is one game I'm very curious and jealous PlayStation does have, it's definitely Wolverine. But the potential this title has from this developer of this caliber, it is really exciting. So I definitely have high hopes for Wolverine and see how they can reinvent it. And they even came out and said that they are looking to make it as a more mature game. So it seems like they definitely know the audience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only so much you can do to make a really good Wolverine game. When he's it's all about him getting torn apart and him tearing people apart. I mean, he's a Wolverine. He's just got these claws and this anger and just goes knife into town, and had some of the best scenes from X-Men and everything were just him getting parts of his skin torn off from Jean Grey and everything, and just growing it back super fast, going off his adamantium skeleton.
So now that we know they're both working on this game, and we know Spider-Man's a 2023 game, and Wolverine 2024. So another theme to this conference was a lot of lack of dates and just CGI trailers. But like I said, if there is a company that can show a CGI trailer and you should be excited for it, it is Insomniac.
Yep.
And they did show off Spider-Man 2. They showed off the fact that Venom will be a villain in the game.
Yeah.
It was another cinematic trailer, but it seems to allude to co-op, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a little more co-op. There was some like combination moves and everything between Peter and Miles Morales and everything. Just grabbing the guy with webs on either side, slamming him into the ground. And it'll be interesting to see if like they ever do some crossover stuff with Wolverine too. Bring him in as like an interchangeable character or something.
It'd be interesting if Spider-Man comes out first, which I think it will, and Wolverine, let's say, is in a chapter
Yeah.
of it. And it'd be so interesting if you play in Wolverine his perspective of maybe that like 10-minute moment you guys bump into each other.
Yeah.
I think that would be just like they should do something like that. Absolutely.
And I think it'd be hilarious and interesting to see how they do like a co-op like walking through the Spider-Man universe with Spider-Man swinging around and like is he just going to be carrying Wolverine? Is Wolverine going to be like stabbing his claws into the wall super fast like running along or just driving his motorcycle around or
Yeah, like how will Wolverine be? Will it be like an open world game? Will you be driving a motorcycle around? Will you be in Canada maybe? Fingers crossed.
yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
would
He is
like
a
to see.
Canadian character, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a snowy set. Do you remember that like opening scene with Rogue and Wolverine in
Yeah.
the original X-Men movie where
Yeah,
they
Rogan
first
Wolverine.
meet each other? Yeah, and I would love like a setting kind of like just like uh, like
Yeah.
a,
It
a
looks like
shitty
that in the
rundown
trailer.
town kind of
There's the trailer
snowy.
right here.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
1 second, let me grab that.
make sure there's no sound on there, Dan.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're showing it off right here. It's the Wolverine trailer, and it is pretty gritty. All they're showing is a bar and everything, and he's just sitting at the bar waiting to get his drink, and everyone else in the bar is just absolutely torn apart.
Yeah, so I hope they stick to what they were saying with it being more of a mature game. But you know, Insomniac has proven that. Well, one, they are just a powerhouse of a studio. Like
Yeah. They turn out
who are
great
these
games.
people? Yeah, they turn out like ridiculously good games, and the graphic fidelity of these games is quite
It's
amazing.
unbelievable.
I would like to
Yeah,
see what Wolverine is in the end because, okay, they've made Ratchet and Clank games, and I feel like when they came out with Sunset Overdrive, that was kind of them dipping into new forms of gameplay. And Spider-Man, yes, is new to them, but you can say the overall established, um, like a Spider-Man game. We knew what a Spider-Man game, open world
yeah.
city, fighting bad
You know what's
guys.
going to happen, and
Exactly.
it's always
I
good.
feel,
It's just you can
yeah,
just
yeah,
keep pumping
exactly.
those out, and I'll buy them.
But they kind of had a framework, I feel like, to work with. So I'm very curious with the Wolverine. I feel like it's their time. It's not their time to shine. They've been shining like
Yeah. It's their time to
like a
innovate.
north sun,
Yeah.
but it's their time to innovate on like a different kind of gameplay idea to really bring new ideas to the table. That's not kind of just treading on the same ground as Ratchet and Clank or what we expect from a Spider-Man game, because there were Spider-Man games prior to this, and we kind of had like a framework from Spider-Man 2 is such a great game from our childhood.
Oh yeah.
So
They did
no,
their
definitely.
experimenting and found out like what kind of physics and everything worked great, and just rolled with it. They did a great job.
Yeah, they are definitely the gods of the Sony studios. But speaking of gods, they did show off finally, instead of just a logo splash screen, but they did show off God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So God of War Ragnarok was fully revealed, and after watching this trailer, honestly, I couldn't help but feel a little underwhelmed. The game looks amazing, no doubt. Like the graphics in this game are absolutely incredible, and the fact that this is even running on a PS4 is astonishing in itself.
Oh yeah.
The game looks amazing, no doubt, but maybe because it is a cross-gen game, there was just something not overly new about this. Almost feels more like an expansion, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A very long expansion.
I
no
was very
doubt.
surprised to learn that it wasn't just an expansion. Like I was kind of surprised just the mythology that they were going for there wasn't included in the original one. I thought that was going to be the like basically like the last level you'd have for
So,
uh
fun fact for people listening. When we were talking about this yesterday, and we were like to Dan, "Oh, this is not expansion." He was like, "What?"
I
Your
had
face, you
no
were so
idea.
shocked.
It's like,
You're
really?
like,
This
"This
is
is."
not like an expansion? How is this not an expansion? Because I could have sworn it was. I thought it was just, yeah, DLC that they were releasing.
But not like every game has to look drastically different. But I just
Yeah.
didn't feel like there was maybe the way they cut the trailer or something. But the trailer just didn't feel um, big, right? Like God
Yeah, it
of
didn't
War.
feel as like huge as you'd think it would. Like Thor's basically the same size as Kratos and everything. Like there's no big oversized towering gods that you're used to and like Kratos
Yeah,
trying to climb up their bodies just to get in their face,
his
just to
face.
talk to
Yeah,
them for a bit. Yeah.
like there
And
was
then stab
no
them.
like. Yeah, there was that giant person who like stood up in
Hmm.
front of him who looked super tall, but there
But he
wasn't
was
that
probably like
like.
twice Kratos' size.
Yeah,
Still
like
wasn't
he's
even
just
that big. Yeah.
like he's just some tall dude. Like I want to see like a huge dragon and him like just
Yeah.
grab its horn and just like slam it on the ground, but like just something like that. Like don't show me the full like fight, but just show me that this game is we're still fighting the
Yeah.
huge, bigger than life
I guess it does go back to the
creatures.
mythology a little bit though too, because I mean in more Norse mythology, the gods are less such all-powerful over beings and everything that rule the whole world and everything like that. They're more like relatable people that
Hmm.
just have these either magic powers or
Yeah.
like wisdom or strength or whatever it is that you needed in that time and everything too. And so
Yeah.
I guess like in a way it's not the like Mount Olympus gods towering over everyone
Oh yeah,
sort of
fighting
God
the
of War that we used to
Titan.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember God of War 3, it starts with you climbing like a Titan and they're
Yeah.
climbing Mount Olympus. And I'm like, that's insane. I feel like I was more impressed with God of War 3, to be honest,
Yeah.
and some of the set pieces they were doing, like fighting Poseidon and whatnot. But
Yeah. Super cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting either way. I mean the graphics, like we've said before, are awesome and uh Gears to Gears, like using Gears of War as an example, is not always a big like graphic leap and everything. A lot of them could be kind of similar to a DLC content sort of expansion looking upgrade because they've always been fantastic, just like God of War. God of War's always been great for their actual like graphics and everything for what they're using and keeping it smooth and fluid and that gameplay and the combo moves and everything that you get with it.
yeah, and I hear from what people have said, there's a lot more enemy variety, it looks like.
Yep.
So it seems like they're refining what has worked before. And the director of the 2018 version it's not the same director. He is passing the reins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm more curious of what Cory Barlog is working on because that's got to be a next gen only game. But I'd say the biggest takeaway from even just this whole conference is I wasn't really wowed, right? Like there was nothing from first party studios that said, hi, we are a next gen game. This is why you bought the PlayStation 5. Look at this game. You can't do this anywhere else. And I feel like we're not going to see that for a while, actually. And if they go dark like they did, like they haven't had a show like this since the PlayStation release, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like why did this take so long? And I feel like they didn't show much. Because if you put this in contrast, this show in contrast to what Xbox showed at E3, and I'm not talking
Yeah.
about their game com show, all right?
Yeah,
talk about
I
their
mean,
E3
the
as
total
well.
video that we've got playing here, I think, is 42 minutes. I know, like, the Xbox showcase for E3 or whatever was, I think it was like an hour and a half or something.
It's 90 minutes, yeah.
90 minutes, yeah.
So I feel like we have way more in the pipeline on the Xbox side and a lot more stuff, in my opinion, to look forward to. And it's all coming to Game Pass, which is
Yeah,
outrageous. So I feel like what they showed it looks awesome, no doubt. But in contrast to what we're getting on the Xbox side, in my opinion, it almost feels like night and day, right?
yeah, it's going to
Because
have a hard time comparing.
and it's funny because everyone keeps on saying, "Hey, Microsoft, you need to respond to these licensed games. Like we need our own superhero." And we were talking about this yesterday. I would like to see a response to them. But you got to understand, with all these licensed games, keyword in there, license. Like these are not their properties, and I feel like the goalpost is always moving. It's like, oh, all we want is original IPs, and then they announce all these, first-party original IPs from them that are not based off of based off pre-existing properties, but gaming properties, right?
Yeah.
And now they show a couple, Marvel and Star Wars things, and now we have to respond with our own superhero game. So I feel like come on, people, like let the PlayStation have their Marvel stuff, have their games. A win is a win either on both sides. Like we don't want a monopoly, right? But
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy for PlayStation to have all these awesome games and everything and have Spider-Man and everything. I want to play it eventually. So I mean, give it some point. Give me.
yeah, well, you got your PC, right?
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
come to PC for sure. But that's the thing, though. Like, if you ask me a question, like, okay, we can give you a bunch of Marvel games, or we can really like hunker down and focus on original IP from our developer. And I'd say go for original IP any day of the week.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're giving me like any. I want to see what these guys want to make their original properties. So I feel like we're actually getting more of that. Funny enough, out of the Xbox side this time around, but I think it's funny we didn't talk much about God of War, but it's God of War. It looks awesome, guys.
Yeah. The kid's getting old.
Yeah, kids getting old. I think the biggest thing we can take away from this conference is all three guys are doing something different, right?
Yep.
Microsoft's doing their own thing, Sony's doing their own thing, and Nintendo's they're definitely doing something for sure. If it makes sense to somebody, you can try and explain it to me one day. That OLED model just makes no sense. Did you know
Yeah.
they just enabled Bluetooth functionality for like headphones
Yeah.
through a software update 4 years into the life cycle of this console? Like
I
what
feel
the
like
crap is that? That is
like
insane.
Sony and Nintendo both like just don't know what they're doing
Software.
with
They don't know
like
software for
portable stuff
shit.
anymore. Like I don't know what's going on there. Cuz like I had the PlayStation Portable. That was the one PlayStation that I actually owned because I wanted like a good portable gaming system. And for me it was originally the PSP and then I moved to the PSP Go. And the frustrating part was like they moved to the PSP, like they had so many different versions of the PSP and just decided not to add in a second joystick. And that
Yeah.
frustrated me to no end. And then by the time Vita finally did it, it was just like too little too late. I like
Yeah.
I just wasn't interested anymore. I
And like
spent too much
Vita,
time.
it's like put four buttons on the top just next to each other. Like, come on.
Yeah. Like this is
And
the
I feel
reason that the Steam Deck's gonna do so well.
well, and I feel like that this is what Microsoft has a great opportunity at the Tokyo Game Show is show off xCloud.
Yeah.
Man, sell your console even with like a little cell phone attachment in Japan. Show these people, oh, all those like Tales of Arise, that
Yeah.
sweet JRPG. You can use it as like a portable game. Like, um, I feel like they have a great opportunity showing off their portable stuff. God, yeah, God of War is just
Absolutely.
showing on the screen right now. The game looks dope, like no
Yeah,
doubt. But
looks
um,
crazy. There's going to be some good story in there and everything. But yeah, just surprised there wasn't bigger enemies, at least showcased here.
oh yeah, something like God of War is really known for, right?
Yeah.
But um, I think we can all walk away from like the conference saying like, man, there's this good stuff coming down the road, and there's a lot to look forward to on both sides, and it's great to see. I love to see it, and competition's king, and I hope Microsoft seeing this lights a fire under them to get some licensed properties. I was saying even like Hellboy or something like that would be really cool.
Yep.
But in the end, yeah, we have a lot of good stuff coming, and I can't wait. And I think they did good at the showcase. But if they go quiet for another year like this and show not as much, and we get like, because I feel like Microsoft's just announcing stuff all the time now, and we're
Yeah.
just getting so much good stuff consistently and even far out. It seems like, and there's even more shows coming. So there's this even more stuff we have not even announced yet, and I feel like there's so much stuff coming down the road. It's getting outrageous. But
They're going to be overflowing.
yeah, yeah.
Our hard
But
drives. We're
that's for
going to
sure.
need some expandable memories.
Yeah, I hear there's a 500 gig one coming down the road, hopefully soon. But yeah, no, that was the Sony showcase. What did you think of the showcase?
I thought it was good. It was, yeah, there was a lot of content that's going to be a little farther out. It's not going to be as soon as we'd like it to be, but there's definitely going to be Sony's picking up some of those games at a extra cost. It's got to be to keep that exclusivity for at least a couple of years or a year or so. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, it gets them their attention. It gets that need to buy their console on and compete with Game Pass and everything. I mean, I was waiting to see what Sony's really going to do about Game Pass and everything, and I think this is the right they're going so far, anyways. And
Oh, they're definitely staying course, and that's one thing I was gonna we didn't get into, but they did nothing about services or talk about reamping their services or anything like that, or even
nothing's
trying to.
changing really. Yeah,
Yeah. So staying course. So they're staying very traditional, old school console ways, where I feel like Microsoft is actually trying to shake things up.
yeah. Microsoft and Nintendo have always Nintendo's always been the innovator of the bunch. They've always experimented with all these new fancy gadgets and everything, using the
Oh yeah,
motion sensitivity to get that started. And I've always felt like Sony's followed along in their own way, and now they don't know where they want to follow or what they want to kind of do next. Because I've never seen, in my opinion, I've never seen Sony as too much of an innovator. Like
Mhm.
they came out with the Wii and everything, and you had the motion sensitive controllers and everything. PlayStation was like, okay, well, we got our version of that. You can do that too. And like
Yeah,
Xbox was at least trying, and they were like, okay, here's this incredible camera that's got like 4 or 5 different cameras in it. It's going to read your whole body and just detect you.
yeah. They
And
tried to kind of go down a different route.
yeah, and
You
it
can even
was
say with with their VR, it's like the same thing. They're just like they kind of copy pretty much like
yeah,
where would we be with online infrastructure for consoles if it wasn't for Xbox Live? So
yeah. And I
you
mean, there's
know,
something to be said for validation before you go and invest, but at the same time, like yeah, like other industries validating your technology and stuff before you need to use it, sure, absolutely. But I mean, yeah, at what point does Sony become the leader in one of these innovations?
there you go. Well, Sony is definitely doing some interesting stuff, but I really want to see what next gen.
Yeah,
I want to see that Sony first party studio that's just going to blow your socks off.
yeah,
So sadly, we didn't get it with this showcase, but maybe in the future we will get that. Hopefully, not in the far future. But overall, it was a good show. But yeah, no, that is our conversation on the
Yep.
other guy, the Sony showcase. But we'll definitely come back next week with more just general gaming news and Xbox news. We definitely have some things to talk about, some leaks. And it sounds like there's some rumblings going on Twitter. People are talking about something crazy. So
Something's
maybe,
happening.
yeah, maybe we'll hear about that sometime next week. So we'll talk about Redfall. We'll talk about Deathloop. We'll talk about all these things. So it's just a weird kind of timing with our show. We record it just the day before the Sony showcase, so our thoughts are coming in a little late for that, but we still wanted to address it and give our opinion on it, because in the end, we're gamers. Like we want to see innovation on both ends. Even though we don't own a PlayStation, we know a good game when we see it, and we like hype. We like seeing new games, new toys, and stuff like that. So we're just a bunch of nerds in the end, right? So
Absolutely.
and they did get Star Wars, so
Yep.
goddamn.
I mean, well, if I could, I'd have a PlayStation too. I'd have the Switch. I'd
Oh
have
yeah,
just
I'd have
everything
everything.
just 'cause. Yeah.
Exactly, but we don't. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that's
But
real
we
life for
don't.
you, right?
Yep. And we don't want you to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Yeah, not at all, right?
Yeah.
But yes, please subscribe, hit that bell if you want. Leave a comment, shoot us a message on Twitter. I'm all over there. You can talk games. If you want to play games with us, shoot us a message. We can add you on Xbox. We just love to interact with anyone, right? So, and
Absolutely.
we're very, like, I'm so honored and just humbled anyone listens to us. And don't think I don't see you guys there and the people who have subscribed. I was looking at our analytics. About 63% of the people who watch our show are actually subscribed, and thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
A couple of you interacted with me on Twitter, and that's been super fun. So yeah, keep the conversation going. If you want to ask us stupid questions, like we were talking about how centaurs would wear pants the other day, which
There's only one correct way, but
there
it's
is,
going to
yeah,
require some redesigning of pants.
yeah, exactly, right? Let's just say it looks like a lot of pants, so it covers all four legs, and not just like the top
Yep.
half. It's
You got to get that whole body in
it's
there.
the full bottom half condom, right?
Yeah. How they get it on and off is going to be a whole nother story.
Yeah, right. So if you want us to talk about, if you have fun questions like that, I have no problem debating stupid crap.
Yeah.
So, and Andrew says hi. He's sorry he couldn't make it tonight. We did, like I said,
Did the full
this is the
podcast last night with him.
this is the
Yeah.
second version of the show, and you know what? I gotta say, Andrew, it was better than the first. Like, what can I say? Love you, bud. But no, it was good. I'm glad we did it again, and the conversation was, in my opinion, just as fun. So, love talking to you, Dan, and you'll see Andrew again next week, maybe,
Yep.
possibly. It might be me hosting for the next couple weeks. I think
We'll
Andrew.
drag him here.
Yeah,
Kicking and screaming.
we'll try and get him here. He's dealing with his movie stuff right now, so that's been really taking off, and proud. I'd love to see it. I'm proud of him. He's doing a really good job, but from what I remember of how he was looking by the end of yesterday's show, he is a tired boy these days. So
Needs that sleep.
exactly right. So maybe it was for the best. And he said a stupid joke that would probably have gotten him in trouble with the people who he works with, who listen to the show. So let's just keep
That's
that
all
one
right.
in the books, right?
Yeah.
All
Yep. Don't
right.
forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button or the notification bell too.
Yeah.
Feel free to leave a comment. You can also find us on audio only on Spotify, Google Podcast, and just look for Xbox North Podcast. We are also on Reddit, Instagram. Look up Xbox North Podcast. For Twitter, it's at North Xbox.
There you go. There you go. All right, keeping us honest. Well, I'm Joshua James.
I'm Dan Robertson.
That's Dan Robertson. You have a good night, guys.
Toodaloo.